Welcome. I'm excited to introduce my longtime friend, a true luminary of the data storage industry, Avery Pham, Vice President of Operations Strategy at VAST Data. Avery, thanks so much for coming here today.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me today.
Avery is a wealth of knowledge, experience, and insight for the data storage industry in general. And I think it's a very appropriate time to have you here because there's so much happening in data.
Yeah.
In case you didn't realize, AI is a thing now. So let's go a little bit into your background, and we'll talk about how things have changed. But you joined VAST very early on, and we knew each other at that time from our prior companies.
Yes.
And you joined in 2018, just after the A round.
Yes.
At that time, VAST wasn't yet shipping a product.
Not yet.
And I had some similar experiences. I joined 3 startups, all right after the A round, all right before we were shipping product. And I know that those times are so much fun and a little bit chaotic. So tell us about the early days at VAST and your experience and how things changed.
Yeah. So again, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure. Like you mentioned, Jeremy and I've known each other for years in previous lives and roles. My first taste of data was back in 2010 when I joined Data Domain. And maybe many of you may know that, acquired by EMC. They were in the backup recovery space. And so I just thought, wow, this is going to boom. I had no idea it would be so transformative like today, to today. But then after that, okay, I'm gonna stick with storage. I love storage. So I went to Pure Storage after that. I ran operations for them there. And then, in 2018.
And helped them grow.
Yeah, it's such an exciting thing to see and witness a birthing of a company. And I didn't come as early as at Pure as I did at VAST, but early enough we can actually see the culmination of all the things that you put together to help scale the company. So that was amazing. I was there from 2013, 2018, and then 2018, Renan calls me, said, hey, my name is Renan. I'd like you to come join VAST. I'm like, okay, who are you? What's VAST? And so that was kind of our first meeting. And then after that, it's been, he sold me. He's so genuine. He's a genius. I joined in September 2018, before we shipped our first product. We started shipping our first product, I want to say early 2019. And again, it came in early, not as early, earlier than Pure, and now we're seeing the same kind of trajectory I saw at Pure. But I think we're growing even faster.
So Renan is the CEO of VAST and just an incredible entrepreneur. VAST, for those who don't know, and what does VAST provide to customers?
Yeah, so VAST is we're a software IP company. We've always been, that's been at our core. And so we specifically are designed and architected for large data sets. At the time, when we built the system, or the cluster, the solution, it was really geared towards high performance computing, research. So where a lot of data needs to be churned, but at a very fast rate. We didn't know this boom of AI that was coming, about to come. And now our system has matured now for probably, 6 years, I want to say, or 5, 6 years. And we are at the forefront of this boom, and I think we have the perfect solution to really manage the data and these type of workloads that AI is requesting.
I remember early days, it might have been before the AI boom, but VAST always talked about the unified data
Universal storage, sure, absolutely.
Universal storage.
Yeah, and so one of the things that, so when I talked to Renan before I joined, I asked Renan, okay, I like you, you seem like a nice guy. Okay, you're sound technology, but what's the difference between Pure and VAST? And he's like, well, I can have, petabytes of data analyzed in fractions of a second, like primary storage. So now you have primary storage. Normally, You're high intensity, write intensity, a lot of high performance, but it really don't require much data because you're only saving data from yesterday or last week, or grabbing data. And now with this new high performance computing and research and AI, you need to actually now churn decades and decades of data at a very fast speed. And now you don't have to, but to do that, you would have to migrate your data back and forth from primary, secondary code. And that's a lot of downtime. That's a lot of, it's very intensive. And so VAST came up with a solution to have one solution that broke all those tiers.
Wow. Just right kind of solution at the right time for a market that needs access to a wide range of data that you don't necessarily want to tier. Now, the data platform, as you said, it addresses the AI market very well. How has that impacted the business over the last year?
Yeah, last year, we saw a huge spike in demand from not only the existing, big cloud hyperscale guys, but really the new logos like the CoreWeaves, the Omnivas, and the G42s, and all these companies. Like, I haven't heard these companies before. Who are you? But they're spending billions and billions of dollars in this. I call it this AI arms race. Trying to get ahead of everybody else. XAI, Elon Musk is doing the same thing. Trying to get ahead because they know that this is here. People are asking for it. They have an insatiable appetite to apply AI in every facet of our lives to make our lives better. And we saw the data that was being purchased mainly for training. So that's kind of the first phase, right? You have to train a model in order to
and you need
learn.
Access to massive amounts of data to train these models.
Massive amounts of data, and over a long period of time, because you're really trying to track trends and history and all that. And so now we thought it was big, that was huge, and now we see okay, the models are trained this year. We foresee this year is going to be now it's inference. Inference is going to take over. They'll still continue to train their models and require more data, but now it's another phase where, okay, now I got my model trained. Now how do I get insight from that model? How do I predict using that model? So it's even more data they have to churn. So it's going to be an amazing year. We're going to continue to sell into our customers love us, and so we have a lot of repeat sales. We'll continue that and hopefully land more logos with our new partnerships too, like yourselves. And so I'd love to hear your perspective on the AI. I know kind of my viewpoint, vantage point at VAST, but what's Micron seeing?
Yeah, so you talked about inference.
Yes.
So one interesting area with inference is something called RAG. You heard of that?
No.
Retrieval augmented generation. So, there was a time where you would go into your LLM, you'd ask it a question, and really the way that a large language model works is it's like a prediction engine. It predicts the next token, which is on average 4 letters. So it's just predicting token by token, but it does an amazing job through the training of being able to predict things. But if you want, for instance, a research assistant, oftentimes you want guidance and you want the LLM to have access to real-world data, current events, things that are happening. Hey, interpret this event for me. What happened in sports? Who's the greatest players of all times in terms of, this statistic? Or maybe you have questions about certain market trends or things that are happening. The ability to access large amounts of data and retrieve actual facts and then incorporate that into the prediction engine, which is the LLM, provides a much richer experience and capability for users under many applications. And so access to vast amounts of data in the inference process is going to be super important, and access in a short amount of time, because you don't want to ask a question and have it go off for an hour while it tries to track down information or have sparse information. Whatever you ask it, it should almost have that on the tip of its tongue. So I think that that's a really interesting area. The other area for me that's super interesting is really the evolution of the generative model. So we're, I believe, still at the tip of the spear. there's so many opportunities, whether it's video generation models, and then some of the more specialized models, robotics. I'm a big fan of Isaac Asimov. I'm excited about that future where we have more humanoid robots.
There's already a movie on it.
There's a movie on it. Elon Musk is talking about it. Yeah, that's an exciting part of the future. There's massive still leaps in generations of complexity that are required to be able to do the training to enable, true autonomous driving, true robotics, video generation, and these areas are going to require really fast access to data. Yeah. So, the boom that we've seen with HBM and our Gen 5 SSDs, now moving into the Gen 6 SSDs inside the training systems, both in inference and in training, I think more data, faster data, that's the present, and it's going to be even more critical in the future.
You just described our solution.
Yeah.
More data, faster.
More data, faster.
I couldn't agree with you more. Like when we started, it was mostly language models, texting, but now it's Renan dubbed the word multimodal, which I love. So now you get video and sound and just everything. That requires even more data. Yeah. And so again, I think this evolution you're talking about, I agree. I think that's where we're going. I think robotics would be cool. We saw a movie about it, making a movie about it. It's kind of really a little far off from that. But yeah, the future is I'm so encouraged to see what's going to be and how our lives are going to be changed. Hopefully the better. Hopefully the better.
Hopefully. So VAST, a little bit about our work together. VAST ships our 15 and 16 terabyte SSDs today. Yeah, correct. Can you tell me what are the unique use cases of customer demands that drive you to offer both this lower capacity point and the higher capacity point? Why the two different?
Yeah, when we started out, we had one solution using a one capacity solution. It was really geared towards the kind of the big data, large scale, hyperscaler guys. We wanted because they would need massive amounts of data, and they buy a lot. They usually, and these are huge HPC and enterprise customers. They buy a lot, and so and they have a lot of data, and so that sufficed us fine in the beginning. Once we were getting to get our software out there, but we knew that we were definitely missing a piece of the enterprise market, at lower end, where the entry point needs to be lower. And they maybe don't need like a petabyte of data. Maybe 100 terabytes is fine. So we needed to introduce a lower capacity point device. And so that's why we introduced it used to be just the 15, but at a massive JBOF scale. And now it's condensed down to a 1U box. We still offer the 15, but offering it at a much lower entry point cost and a lower capacity point.
Interesting on how your customers use SSDs. What, in your experience or VAST experience, sets Micron and Micron SSDs apart when you look at different partners you can work with?
Yeah, I think we always knew, even in my previous days, that Micron made amazing flash, and now it's paired with even a more amazing controller, and so it allows us to access our data much faster than some of your competitor drives, and that was the reason why. Well, we need to get there. I know it took a little bit. Thank you for that work in progress. But now that we have it, we love it. The engineers love it. I mean, when we do benchmark testings in the lab, hands down, it's like the best performing drive in the lab. Okay. And so that's what really motivated us to get you guys qualified and start shipping your product, because we knew that our customers would find great use to it. And I think it also helps us that Micron is they're one of the big four, and so we feel also assured that we're going to get supply that we need. Sometimes, especially in this market where demand is kind of and supply is a little lopsided, we have to make sure that we're partnering with the likes of Micron, so we can not only have good quality but also the supply we need and the performance.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's been a great partnership, and we've worked really hard to build some of the most power efficient and high performing SSDs in the world.
Yeah.
So one area that you've really pushed forward is driving the capacity per rack, right?
Yep.
Density in a system. Now with the 60 terabyte shipping, we're shipping drives that are basically twice the capacity of a hard drive, although a lot smaller. So it's actually on a volumetric basis, something like 10x the capacity point of an HDD.
Yes.
So what does the future look like from your perspective in terms of people moving more applications beyond AI and more of their infrastructure from hard drives to SSDs?
I think it's already happening. I think we saw the first. I mean, if you go back, I'm a little bit of a data junkie. If you go back in time, tape was the first medium to store. That was the most reliable. It had the longest data retention. But as we evolved through this evolution, hard drives came to be, and people still use tape. There's still a market for that. And hard drives just took over. Hard drive took over. They still are probably the majority of the technology in data centers today.
Well, compared to tape, they were a lot faster.
Absolutely,
you get your data faster.
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. But then flash came along. It was very expensive when you compare it to spinning media. But there's so many things you can do with software on a solid state drive you can't on a hard drive. Like this type of some of the software trickery, I call it, that we do, like compressions, reductions, and we just can't do that. You just physically, you can't do that on a spinning media. And so it's happening. I think people always knew flash was a better medium to store and access data, but it was just too cost prohibitive. And now we're getting to the point, wow, we're building like 15, 30, 60, soon to 120 terabyte drives. And now it's going away. And then with software, you get even more usable space from all the software trickery. And so I think it's going to happen. I think it's just a matter of time, honestly, that we displace hard drives from the data center. I really do. And it allows us to take on more applications. Before, it didn't make sense for these large capacity cold archival or cold or archival data to be stored in flash. It was just not economical. But now, people are starting to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the interesting thing also is some of that archival data or the cold data that you might not look at. Yeah, exactly. It's like a human may only pop into their head like, oh, let's go look at those pictures from 10 years ago. But the AI model is going to look at everything. All the time. Everything. So some of that colder data now becomes warmer in the new paradigm.
Absolutely.
It's pretty interesting.
It is. And I keep thinking about how well positioned VAST is and how how you guys are in leaders in the flash industry. Like, this is our time.
This is our time.
I'm excited. You should be excited.
It is exciting. Well, on that note, we should end it here, huh?
Yes.
Avery, thank you so much for coming in to talk to us.
Anytime.
Thank you for your support. Thank you for changing the world.
Yeah.
And
we're doing
innovating.
Together.
Together.
All right. Thanks, everybody.